Hello and welcome to Startup Street. I'm Arundhati Ramnan and with me is Shruti Mishra. These are the top headlines from the startup space. Rural fintech startup Jai Kisan raises $50 million in a combination of equity and debt in its ongoing funding round led by new investors GMO Venture Partners, Yara Growth Ventures, DG Daiva Ventures, existing investors Bloom Ventures, Arkham Ventures, Mire Asset, Snow Leopard Ventures and others also participated. Northern Arc, Ulterior and Mass Financial contributed to the debt round.
PhonePe completes the long-pending acquisition of mobile platform OSLabs after reaching an amicable settlement within the company's majority shareholder, Affle Global. As part of the deal, PhonePe acquired Affle Global's entire stake at a premium.
Swiggy will allow majority of its employees to permanently work from anywhere. Going forward, corporate central business functions and technology teams will continue to work remotely. However, employees who are in partner-facing roles are required to work from the office for a few days a week from their base locations.
The chief operating officer of Zilingo has resigned from the company. Adi Vaidya confirmed his resignation when contacted by Bloomberg News. Friday is his last day at the company, Vaidya said.
Central government blocks a popular battle royal format game from Krafton as it was concerned about its data sharing and mining in China. Government sources told Reuters the app has been removed from Google Play Store and Apple's App Store.
Meta has started informing its news partners that the company will stop paying publishers for their content to run on Facebook's news tab in the US. According to Axios, news has become less of a priority as the company is moving forward with sweeping changes to the Facebook experience.
Those were the top headlines that we're tracking for you this evening. Now, while large companies like Airbnb and other online travel aggregators have the resources to improve cost efficiencies, small businesses in hospitality space continue to struggle. Revenue management startup Price Labs does exactly that and empowers small businesses in the short-term rental industry with AI and analytical tools. Founded in 2014, Chicago headquarters Price Labs is a company offering a dynamic pricing and revenue management solution for the accommodation industry, especially targeting small businesses. Now, the company has just raised $30 million led by Summit Partners. And joining us now to discuss this further is Rishi Khandelwal, the co-founder of Price Labs, to discuss the company's growth strategy. Rishi, thank you so much for joining us on the show. Before we get into the fundraise, can you give us a sense of what exactly it is you do? How are you creating value for small business owners in the short-term rental industry?
Absolutely, absolutely. Firstly, let me say thank you so much for having me on this show. The idea that what we are doing is very simple. We adjust prices based on supply and demand. All of us have seen this. Say when you're trying to book a flight, if you're trying to book on a Sunday, you see that the prices are high, but on some weekdays the prices are low. If you're trying to book around a holiday, the prices can be significantly high. In low season, the prices will be low. That's essentially what we do. We do this algorithmically. We do it for short-term rentals, boutique hotels, vacation rentals. So every day for the next 365 or 540 days, we price a property, and every 8 to 24 hours, we potentially change those prices based on what we are seeing in the market.
Basically finding the right price point. Now, let me get to the fundraise. How do you plan to allocate these funds and how will this fund help you grow your business?
So there are, it's not just that the funding, that's the only part that will help us grow the business.
Right.
But let me come to the funds first, which is what we're focused on is we're focused on a problem that is, or a customer base that's very massive, that's large, millions of users potentially around the world. We today have customers in 100+ countries. And to be able to serve these, one, we need to build quality products, which ensure that these customers are able to capture their value, increase revenues, reduce costs via automation and other such things. And so that's where a majority of our funding is going to go towards,
right,
which is building quality, high quality products. And then secondly, like I said, we have customers in 100+ countries. Over the last 2-3 years, we have seen demand come from just about everywhere. And so in order to tap into that demand, we're going to expand our business around the world. Today, we have presence in 8 countries,
right,
with like team members in 8 countries, and we're going to grow that further.
Absolutely. So we're going to get into all of that a little bit deeper. But like you said, you're going to use these funds to build products. So take us through the products that you already have on offer. And why don't you also tell us how Guesty works? Are you looking at any new offerings in the pipeline?
Okay. sorry, I'm not sure you mentioned Guesty there, but yeah. So okay, so we sell two products: dynamic pricing,
Right.
which is adjusting these rates based on supply and demand every single day, right? And number two, what we sell is market dashboards. Market dashboards are basically data-based analytical tools, so that if someone wants to either look at what's happening in their market, potentially to acquire a property or to price a property or to do statistical analysis, various marketing organizations do analysis, and so they use our data products to do that. So two key products: dynamic pricing, adjusting rate every day based on supply and demand, and number two, market dashboards that help customers figure out what's happening in a market, what days are high priced, what days are low priced, how much revenue can I make if I buy a short-term rental property, or what kind of competition exists, and other things.
All right. And consumer preference has obviously continued to shift in favor of alternative accommodations across every demographic. So what's the growth that you've seen so far, and where will the next leg of growth come from?
We've been growing 100% year over year
Right.
for the last couple of years. We're a profitable business, and particularly coming out of COVID, we thought, by the way, we were not going to survive the COVID wave because travel industry generally took a really bad beating. But turns out a lot of customers actually needed pricing and price labs a lot more during COVID than in a stable environment. So anyway, coming out of COVID in 2021, we saw significant growth, much faster than any that we have in former years. And today, the growth is coming from one, we today have a very small pie of the overall market. Number two, the alternative space, like you mentioned, is continuing to grow. And number three, there are other areas that are very adjacent to us, whether that's like hostels, camping, boutique hotels, mid-term rentals, et cetera, that we're going to expand into as we build our products.
All right. And Price Labs is now powering about 1.5 lakh listings over 100 countries. And you said you're present with teams in about 8 countries. So what's the expansion plan here? Which geography remains your top focus at this point?
Our priority areas are United States and Europe. Those are our big key areas where we're going. But this problem, and all of us, since we're talking to India audience, this problem is something that we have experienced everywhere. If you go to any train station or bus stop, you'd see hundreds of small hotels or boutique guest houses, et cetera. And these people don't have tools that can help them really optimize and maximize their revenue. And so it's a global problem. We're focused on US and Europe presently, but very quickly we're going to expand into other countries as well.
All right. So US and Europe on top of your radar there. You also said you are profitable. So give us a sense of your revenues. Which country drives Price Labs revenues the most, and where will you end this year?
As a private company, we don't disclose our revenues presently. US is our major market. And that's where the growth is going to, that's where majority of the growth came during COVID times, because it's a large country that still had travel. Europe had lesser of a travel. This year, we will continue to grow. We expect to grow somewhere between 2 to 3x. We're aiming 2.5 and hoping for 3. And that's where we are targeting this year.
And where does India feature in this, in the focus for you?
So in India, we have a bunch of customers in tourist destinations, so like Goa or Manali or Pondicherry, etc. We have a bunch of customers there. Today, India is a strong market for us in terms of recruiting, and we have a large team based out of India. Again, we hire remotely. We have good 2/3 of our team based out of India, all working remotely, and that's the key focus area for us in India for the next year or two. And then we are going to reassess how we focus in terms of business in India.
All right, Richie. All right, thank you so much for joining us on the show, but we're completely out of time and we wish you all the best going forward.
Thank you so much.
All right, moving on. It's time for the news wrap. Here are some of the top stories we're tracking from the startup world. Now, India has blocked a popular battle royale format game from Krafton, a South Korean company backed by Tencent, on concerns over data sharing and mining in China, Reuters reported, quoting a government source. The government used powers it has under law to block Battlegrounds Mobile India, relying on a provision it has invoked since 2020 to ban several other Chinese apps on national security concerns. The center has not publicly announced the move, but the app is not available on Google Play Store and Apple's App Store since Thursday evening.
Meanwhile, digital payments and financial services player PhonePe has completed the long-pending acquisition of mobile platform OS Labs after reaching an amicable settlement with the company's majority shareholder Affle Global, the company said in a statement. As part of the deal, PhonePe acquired Affle Global's entire stake at a premium. It, however, did not reveal the final valuation at which the deal was reached. Indus OS's 100 employees, including founders Akash Dongre and Rakesh Deshmukh and Sudhir Bangaramba, will be part of PhonePe, which now owns 100% stake in the company after the all-cash deal. Now, the closure of the deal comes after a long-winding legal wrangle between PhonePe and Indus OS shareholders Affle and Venture East Fund on the valuation of Indus OS. Walmart-owned PhonePe was close to acquiring Indus OS in May 2021 at a valuation of $60 million.
Process-backed food tech major Swiggy will allow permanent work from home anywhere for a majority of its employees. Going forward, corporate, central business functions and technology teams will continue to work remotely. The company said in a statement they will converge once in every quarter at their base location for a week to promote in-person bonding, it added. However, employees who are in partner-facing roles are required to work from the office for a few days a week from their base locations. Swiggy said the decision to allow permanent work from home anywhere was taken based on team needs and feedback from several managers and employees who vouched for the flexibility and increased productivity working from home has given them in the last 2 years.
And rural fintech startup Jai Kisan has raised $50 million in a combination of equity and debt in the first close of its ongoing Series B round, onboarding marquee international financial services and strategic investors. Now, new investors, GMO Venture Partners, Yara Growth Ventures and DG Dama Ventures, along with existing ventures Bloom, Arkham Ventures, Mire Asset, Snow Leopard Ventures and others invested in the round. Northern Arc, Alteria and Mars Financial contributed to the debt raise. Jai Kisan aims to use the proceeds of the fundraise to expand product suite and enhance the customer journey. The funding will also help accelerate the phenomenal growth of existing products, strengthen talent and boost data science and engineering capabilities. Founded in 2017, Jai Kisan is a fintech company which is a rural-focused neobank which offers credit for transactions in online and offline rural commerce environments to individuals and rural businesses.
Lastly, e-commerce roll-up firm Upscaleo has reported stellar results at this year's Prime Day, Amazon India's flagship sale. The company said it has registered a 6% increase in sales across portfolio. Despite limiting factors, most of Upscaleo's brands have delivered 2 to 4x increases over last year's results. Most brands also recorded an all-time high of units sold in one day and at higher ASPs, Upscaleo has said in a statement. Welcome back to Startup Street. On the hot seat today, we put the spotlight on Seva Grey Rin, also known as Sitara. Now, Sitara is an affordable housing finance company of Seva, or the Self-Employed Women's Association Group. The venture helps the underserved households get access to affordable and formal housing finance in urban and peri-urban locations. Now, Sitara recently raised $20 million through a mix of primary and secondary investment in tranches. The round was led by Norway's Nordic Microfinance Initiative and Women's World Bank Asset Management, along with 3 existing investors, HDFC Holdings, Oiko Credit and Omedyar Network Fund, also participating in the round. Now, to talk to us about the road ahead, joining me now is Sitara's Managing Director and CEO, Shruti Gonzalez. Shruti, welcome to Startup Street. Now, Sitara started operations in 2015 with a special focus on advancing the property rights of women in the informal sector. Tell me, what is a big challenge you seek to address and how big is the impact you can make?
First of all, thank you, Shruti, for having me on this show. Good evening, everyone. So, as you rightly mentioned, Sitara is a affordable housing finance company, and we have been set up to cater to the demands of women who are working in informal sector. Now, when we talk about informal sector, at an estimate, there is a shortfall of about 20 million units that exist in India itself. And along with the challenge of underwriting the informal incomes of this kind of families, the other part of the challenge as a housing finance company or as a mortgage lender is to understand and underwrite the different kind of property titles that also come along with these
Yes.
kind of properties. So, given the fact that property rights is a state matter and it does not come under the center's purview, we have to understand the local statute of each state government, how they are regularizing the properties, specifically where women or the families of informal sector are residing in, and basically work with the local urban development bodies, the municipal corporations,
Yes.
to help these families complete their property titles or the chain of property titles.
Okay.
So that has been our forte and that has been our niche that we have developed over last 7 years of operation.
All right, Shruti. So you cater to a niche market of informal housing tenure or incomplete property documentation. Tell me how you assist potential customers to make the property title legally executable, and how are you assisting customers to formalize their collateral?
So first and foremost, the segment which we are talking about, they are not aware of how do you approach or how do they approach a formal financial institution for this
Yes.
kind of mortgage lending. So first part of our whole journey is to reach out to this segment, and that we do very dedicatedly through our loan officers and through our branches which are existing in almost 36 locations as of now. We are present in 7 states. We, of course, with the foray of government schemes like Pradhan Mantri Awas Yojana, and earlier it was Rajiv Awas Yojana.
Okay.
So the awareness amongst this segment about affordable housing available to them has been gradually building up. So one part is to reach out to the family, gain their trust, make them understand, and then to handhold them to reach out to the urban development authorities
Okay.
to complete their no objection certificate, and once they get it, to get these properties registered.
Yes. Okay, but what is the ticket size of the loans that you provide? And also, if you could talk to me about your screening process and the NPAs that you're seeing.
Sure. So our ticket size at a range level, we anywhere lend between 1.5 lakh
Okay.
to right up to 20 lakhs. But our average ticket size currently is also about 3 lakhs. And when I say 3 lakhs, it is not only going towards home purchase, it's mainly for the incremental upgrade or home extension kind of loan. We, of course, also have home purchase as a product. So it's the 2 products that we offer is the home housing loan or home construction, and the other is the loan against property for any kind of businesses that these families would want to do. Now, on the other side of the screening part, which you rightly mentioned, it's a combination of physical outreach to these families, to their areas of employment. It's also a combination of digital. So it's more of a process which is, I would say it is digital, which is physical and digital to, as a combination.
Okay.
We understand the cash flows of their families and also assess their the capability or affordability to repay certain amount of EMIs. The other aspect, as I mentioned earlier, is to understand the risk which comes along with these different kind of property titles.
And then the NPAs?
On the NPA front, we have overall, in spite of all the market shocks, we have seen very resilience, very good performance of our portfolio. This segment, as I have been talking about even earlier, shows a lot of resilience because there is a lot of emotional connect with the asset that has been created, the housing asset that has been created. And traditionally, the NPA levels have been sub 1%.
All right, 1%. Okay, Shruti, let's quickly talk about your recent $20 million fundraise. In fact, it is NMI's first investment into the affordable housing segment. So what does NMI and WWB's backing mean to you? Also, if you could take me through the fund allocation plans.
Sure. So NMI and WWB and even the existing investors, they are totally aligned towards the social impact that this company addresses to achieve. And aside from the social impact story of it, the scalability of this model is what will be achieved through this NMI and
Okay.
WWB investment.
Okay.
So up till now, we have been at a decent portfolio of about 360 odd crores. This year itself, we want to add about 500 crores to our books.
Yes.
And we plan to grow our books at least on an average by 50% year on year.
Okay.
So that's the plan. Currently, my total customer base at the end of this fiscal year is projected to be 21,000 families. And year on year, as I mentioned earlier, we would be adding about 10 to 12,000 families to our books.
Okay, all right. I want to know next from you that how do you manage your funds? Is it through grants only? And if you could also talk to me about your revenue model. How sustainable is it?
So we are a profitable company.
Okay.
And as a housing finance company, we need to create value for our investors as well as for our other stakeholders together. We do not have any kind of grant as of now. While we aim to create a very strong social impact, we are not totally dependent or, in fact, not at all dependent on any kind of philanthropy.
Okay.
We totally depend on the debt that has been raised and the equity. Equity naturally helps us to leverage the debt from domestic as well as international market. Our current debt to equity ratio as of now is at about 1.5 to 1.5%.
All right.
And because of this particular equity raise, it also provides us a lot of elbow room to now leverage further from, again, domestic market as well as international market.
All right, Shruti, we've completely run out of time, but wish you the very best for the kind of social impact that you're creating with your venture. Many thanks for joining us on Startup Street today.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
On that note, it is Friday and it's time for us to take stock of all the deals from the startup world. This week saw a total of 18 deals valued at over $150 million. Some notable deals include rural fintech startup Jai Kisan, which raised $50 million in a combination of equity and debt from Bloom Ventures, Mire Asset Ventures and others. Neobank Fee bagged $45 million from Alpha Wave Global in a Series C round, while Price Labs got $30 million from Summit Partners.
Well, that's not all. WhatsApp-based e-commerce company ChattyBow raised $5 million from the likes of InfoEdge, Vertex and 7 Square Ventures, and ocean farming startup C6 Energy got $4.2 million from BSF Venture Capital, Aquaspark and others. Overall, according to Venture Intelligence, a total of 719 deals have taken place so far this year, valued at over $18,800 million.
And with that, it is a wrap on this edition of Startup Street. From Shruti and me, goodbye and many thanks for watching.